What is up, people of YouTube? Today I'm going to make the case that Billy is actually better as a spirit character. Just a warning, this video is going to be probably really scuffed because this is like the 100th take and I'm trying to do a one shot and it's not working at all. But I got a really nice camera because I took the time to hook it up so you can count my pores if you're bored. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about why Billy is a great spirit character. Right now he's being built mostly as a gun character. In case we're not caught up, this is the game of Deadlock. This is the character Billy. Yeah, so if you go through like all the popular builds, it's mostly centered around his gun and melee. And it is good because you get wrecked bullet. You get bullet amp tied to your 3, and then a lot of your damage is melee, so any bullet resist or weapon damage is tied to your melee, so it makes sense. Also, I will say if you're in a game and everybody on your team is spirit, you can still go gun. But I do think in general, Spirit Billy's a little better. In case you care about credentials or whatever, I am Eternus 3. I will say this is my peak rank, so I am cherry picking a little bit, but everybody does it. So, yeah, I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to do some theoretical stuff, and then I'm going to go over the build. And then in another video, I'm probably going to play some Spirit Billy. And if I do terrible, you'll never see it. But if I do well, it'll prove myself right. So, the reasons I think that Spirit Billy is pretty good is it's mostly tied to his 3 scaling off of Spirit. The scaling is not insane until you get to the top level, but it's good enough where it makes a significant difference. And it's nice because if you build into Spirit, you don't have to build so much into your into the Vitality category because you're stealing so much health. So an important observation and some rules about stealing from enemies is you can steal from multiple enemies, one, and later I'm going to talk about it's important for the AP order. But a light melee steals half the health of the listed value, and then a full or a heavy melee will steal the full amount. So, just to show you what I'm talking about, I have max AP, so this is going to be a heavy melee, and this is 120. If I have blasted going, it's going to steal. Oh wait, it's not. It's not actually. It was a bug. Anyway, I have 120. So if I do this, that was 360. It was 180 plus 360, or 360 right there. So yeah, so everybody you hit, it's going to be health stolen from. And if you get some spirit on you, I'm not gonna do like a unrealistic amount. This is gonna be a realistic amount. Like let's say we're in the mid to late game, you got 28,000 souls, and let's say you are level. I'm gonna make it like halfway. Max is 30, so we're at 20. Okay, that's 20k. Well, I'll make it so the items are worth 20k as well. And I'll get rid of a spirit item just to be nice. Yeah, so if we are here, and let's say this is not max, let's say this is max because this is what I would recommend. So you have 117 per heavy melee, and then that would be like 50 or so per light melee. So if you have greater expansion on your 1 and you're in the middle of a team fight, if you get 2 or 3 people on it, you're going to be able to steal, you know, 200 to 300 health, and then every light melee you do is just more and more. I think this is really powerful late game once you get that second point in it where it increases the spirit scaling. And if you get into your late builds, like you're stealing almost 500 health if you could hit 2 people. And in the build, I maxed this first. The reason the bash down first, I would max the bash down first because even if you increase the spirit scaling on the 3, like I was explaining earlier, the heavy melee will steal or gain the full amount, and a light melee will only gain half the amount. So even if you have increased spirit scaling with this, it doesn't really matter if this is a light melee bash down because it's the only form of guaranteed melee damage that you have. So that's one reason. The other reason is it's pretty well known, but in case you don't, the Max upgrade on Rising Ram is a max health damage, and it ignores resistances. So late in the game, again, like let's say 25,000 or so, and you're playing against some tanky characters that are at 3,000 or 4,000 health, and I have this Rising Ram that usually it'll be like 12% in a game, but let's say it takes 12% from a 3,000 health character, that's 360 damage. Or from a 4,000 health character, it's 480 damage. Which, if you couple that with Tank Buster, you're doing a lot of damage that ignores resistances that really screws over large health pool characters. And that's unique to Billy because most Spirit Nukers are kind of screwed over by Spirit resistances. So, yes. Those are just some of the reasons why he's good. The Spirit Scaling on Bashdown is not bad. I know the Spirit Scaling on Chain Jane isn't bad either. And then he just synergizes pretty well with Spirit Snatch. Another thing I forgot to mention is I was doing some testing earlier, and I'm pretty sure... So you can Spirit Snatch. I don't know if you just saw that over here. Pay attention to the left-hand side of the screen. But just a second ago it said... Okay, so it looks like you can do 2... people. You can proc your Spirit Snatch off 2 people. So you'll have let me see. You'll have an extra 30 Spirit Power, which, just for reference, that's the flat Spirit Power that Boundless Spirit gives. Like, yes, it gives a percentage, but it's a good bit of Spirit. And then you're stealing 24% Spirit Resist, or you're gaining 24% Spirit Resist, minus 12 to each person. So it's both shred and making you tankier. So you synergize super well with Spirit Snatch, and he just uses a lot of Spirit items really well. Tank Buster's really good. Great Expansion's good. Tormy P is good. You're in their face a lot, so it's going to proc you all the time. And obviously Rapid Recharge is good. So that's part of the reason why I think he's good as a Spirit character. I would still hit your Gun Spike for sure. It contributes to your heavy or your melee damage pretty nicely. And your gun still shreds up close without it being everything you have to rely on a gun build. So, because another reason I thought of this stuff is whenever I play Gun Billy, it kind of feels bad to use your ability sometimes because your gun does so much more damage than your melee. But it's like, it's nice getting the bonus health from your melee, so it's a little awkward because you do more damage with your gun, but you want the health from your melee. So I think Spirit Billy kind of has a more synergistic feel to it since you get both at the same time. So I'm going to go through the build super quickly. Again, this is a theoretical video. I'm sure I'm going to upload a video, again, if I don't suck, showing off the build if you like to see that instead. But I'm just going to go through everything and explain it pretty well. This is pretty good. You don't really have to know the game much to use this. This is pretty beginner friendly. If you don't know why you want something, most of it's annotated, so I would just read it. So, and I'm also going to explain why my build is better than everybody else's because I'm arrogant. So, in lane options, Healing Rat or Rebuttal, that's pretty self-explanatory if you play the game. This is good, again, you can read it, but it's good if you're against an Abrams, Calico, Venator, or Rem. People that are spamming light melee. Rebuttal is really insane value. If you only proc it once or twice a game, it's pretty much earned its value because you're getting at least a kill or two off of it. And then I'm just going to go through it really quick. You want to start with some cheap items, and I like usually hitting one of each category. It's a pretty good value. So I'm probably going to make a video about this later because not a lot of people explain it very well. But when you invest money into each category, you get a certain amount of return based on it. And a lot of people talk about the jumps, and the jumps are important, but the 7%, like for instance, when you first invest 800 souls into weapon investment, or the 8% in your health, or the +7 in your spirit category, it's not the biggest jump in between investment thresholds, but it is still really good. So I think it's helpful to just buy close quarters. You can interchange these. I might actually interchange it. I'm gonna do it right now because whatever. Melee lifesteal and Spirit Strike. Melee Lifesteal is just really good. It's a free 100 health whenever you use Bash Down in lane. And you can proc it off creeps if you're feeling passive. And then Spirit Strike is a good bit of flat damage, a little bit of shred in the beginning of the game. This is really just so you can build it into Spirit Snatch later. And then we got Mystic Burst, Extra Charge, and Spirit Snatch. Once you hit the Spirit Snatch, you're hitting your Spirit Scaling, you're hitting your 4,800 Spirit Threshold. If you see where the star is on the screen, I was about to point, but you can't see my pointing. But yeah, you want to hit your 4,800 investment threshold. Again, somebody has made a video, or I'll make a video. It's just a good thing to do. So once you hit that, then you can start diversifying into your other investment categories. I think Life Strike is really good on Billy. You're using your Bash Down anyway. You get 44% of the melee hit heal in a flat 140. Well, it's a flat whatever it is, depending on your level. It scales with boons. And I think the really underrated thing about it is your move speed, the move speed reduction, and obviously it increases your melee damage, and the passives every 4 seconds. This is kind of important because it's not exact, but if you want to look, I assume you're looking, but the 2 timers on the cooldown for Bash Down, the top one where it says 3.5 seconds, that's the time in between charges. So your Life Strike and the cooldown in between charges on your Bash Down when you have rapid recharge is very similar. So you're going to be proccing Life Strike a lot. I feel the difference pretty often where it's just coupled with you stealing health. It's nice getting that heal. It increases your melee damage. A lot of people in a lot of other Billy builders skip it, but that's because a lot of their damage is their gun. For the Spirit Billy, you're doing mostly melee and Spirit because of your Bash Down. So I think Life Strike's good. Mystic Expansion is really good, so you can proc more on your 1. Enduring Speed is really nice. You can put Enchanter's Emblem here instead if you want, but I usually like having Enduring Speed because I think slows are really popular right now with both slowing bullets, point blank. It feels kind of bad not having Enduring Speed, and then if you have that with your Blasted, you're moving pretty fast with it on. You can pretty much chase down whoever you want to chase down, and you got to get in their face. So, yep, Torment Pulse, it does good damage, and then you hit your melee investment. Around here is where you're going to be. And you might actually hit it a little earlier, but around here is where you're going to be maxing out your Bash Down, and Mass Bash Down procs melee charge now. Another good thing about melee charge is, like, if you can get them to bait their parry, then you can chase them a lot easier with melee charge. It also is really good for farming and objective damage. So melee charge is good. Tank Buster, like I was saying earlier, it's a flat. It's basically taking off the top 8% of the current health that somebody has. It's a lot of damage by the end of the game, especially when everybody has a lot of health. And then you want to pick one of these two. If you're against a lot of Spirit characters, Spirit Resilience. If you're against a lot of Bullet, I would do Warp Stone. You could do Bullet Resilience, but usually that feels a little bad because Warp Stone is the same amount of Bullet Resist when you use it. And it's 6 second duration, so it's not up all the time, but it's usually enough where it'll help you out, and the movement, I feel, is a lot more useful than the bullet resist. I also have, like, in M1 counters, Metal Skin or Suppressor. For instance, if you're against a Haze that is using ult build, Metal Skin is going to be a lot better than Bullet Resilience will. And then most of the other M1 characters, you're either going to want Metal Skin or you're going to want to slow their fire rate. You're not often going to want Bullet Resilience. That's why it's not in the build. Also, to be honest, it doesn't fit. So, and then I got in the late game, we are doing just more Spirit stuff. Just to explain something really quick. When you hit, when you hit this, when you buy all these items, basically, and it doesn't even have to be all these items, but these are the items I would recommend. Once you hit that, you are at your maximum investment threshold for Spirit Power, And the max threshold is a big jump. After that, you're pretty much not going to get any return on investment in flat spirit power. So that's why we stop here on the spirit items. Also, you're going to be slot locked. Whatever. Again, I'm going to show off the build in some games. If you have any questions in the build, I would just read the annotations, but I'd highly recommend checking out my build. I think it's really good. Whenever I've played it in some games, I've done, you know, relatively well. I think about the game a lot, but like I said, I don't know if I said it on this take. Like I said, I've been doing a million takes, but my aim isn't great. But I think I can think about the game pretty well. So yeah, I would try out this spirit build. I think it's really underrated, and tell me what you think, especially since this isn't here. This is, I forget the saying, neither here nor there. But Billy's win rate is kind of meh, and I think that's a lot because the gun build is so popular. I find it hard to get value out of the gun build. I feel like I die pretty quickly, and I forgot to talk about the ability point order, but on a lot of these builds, you'll see they kind of prioritize the 5-point upgrade on Chain Gang. It's good. I don't think it's good enough to rush. I think it makes you weak for the rest of the game, because yes, Unstoppable is really good, but it's conditional Unstoppable for only if you pull people in, and if, again, when you're in a gun build, most of your damage is your gun. So you don't actually need Unstoppable because, like, a lot of people want Unstoppable so you don't get parried. But if you're using your gun mostly, it's not as valuable. Like, Unstoppable is always valuable. But to me, the other upgrades in this are more valuable, especially in the Spirit build. So yeah, I think you should check it out. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the AP ordering. In case you don't understand it, the Blasted, every Billy rushes the first 2 points in Blasted. You do this because it's +1 charge, bash down charge on you. So it's like Echo Shard. You use this, you press 3, and then you go again. In lane, it's really powerful. Your lane is a little mid because of it, but it's worth it. And then I rush 5 points in bash down. It was like I was explaining with this. You want the full steal. So having a heavy melee on your bash down is really important. It also increases your damage by a good bit. It's like 50 points. It also helps with Spirit Snatch and Life Strike. So I don't know, if you read it, it says effects are reduced to 70% for light melee hits and 40%. No, sorry. Cooldown is 1.5 times as long for light melee hits. So it's nice getting those heavy melee procs with your bash down because it's guaranteed damage. And then I have 2 points RAM. I like doing that. I find it kind of hard to hit the RAM without the +3 seconds of duration. That might just be a skill issue, but it feels better to me. And then I do 2 points in Chain Gang. You can skip this. I just put this because Chain Gang is really valuable against Mina and Apollo, who I find a lot in my games because of the slowing hits effect. And the -50-second cooldown and the +40 conditional resist, I find them really nice, pretty valuable. But if you don't need it, skip it and go straight to the I still haven't decided about this. Right now I have the 5 points RAM first. It is really good, but this gains more value the later in the game it is. So I haven't done all the math on when you get your boons and you get your ability points. But if you wanted to delay this for maxing this out, that might be a good idea because this 5-point upgrade is pretty insane with this. Like, again, this is like full build. I'm at 40k, but 350 melee bonus health per hit. Like, if I hit all 3 of these guys with Blasted on, sorry, then I'm going to get 1,000 health. So it is pretty valuable. You might want to skip it ahead of this. It just depends on who you're playing up against. If you're playing up against tanky heroes, you can do this. If you want to be tankier, I would prioritize this instead. And then you're just maxing everything else out. That's pretty much it. There's counters in here. If you want more gun damage, you could do these. Recharge and Rush looks good on paper, but I usually don't run out of charges throughout a fight. But if you do, put this in. This is countering M1 characters. These are just really good greens, slowing hats, and yada, yada, yada. All right, I hope I made my case. I'm going to provide the evidence, hopefully, if I could get some good Spirit Billy games. Check me out. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video. On Twitch, it's LukeyVibin.ttv. On YouTube, you're already here. Thanks so much for watching. And hopefully, I can make the next one even better. Thanks.